Good morning. Today is April 1st and the Ramseys have hit the high seas and we are in Nassau, Bahamas. Today we're going on a little tour and we will take you along with us. It's about a half-day tour and we're going to see some of the different sights that there is to see here in Nassau. I hope you enjoy. We have disembarked from the ship and now we are walking to go find our tour group. So we're now on the pier and you can see some of the other ships that are here with us. It's a beautiful morning. The high is only supposed to be around 80 today. So it's going to be a beautiful day.
Distillation. Our last stop is going to be a quick one at the beach just for a photo. And folks, whilst I am driving around, I'm pretty much going to inundate you folks with a lot of information, a flood of it, about Bahamian culture, history. We just shoot the breeze, okay folks? Now, I was born and raised on this small piece of rock. I would like to believe I know something about it. Folks, I might not know everything, but trust me, enough to get by on. And so if you have any questions, always feel free to interject. I'll be more than happy to answer your questions. And for those tough questions I cannot answer, guess who I'm going to refer them to?
Mark.
Oh, yes indeed. With that said, folks, let us get this show on the road. Go. The country being a country of mostly water, we have about 700 individual islands. If you add up all the rocks and keys like Paradise Island, Busha Key, Coco Key for example, you'll get about 2,000 of those. Now, New Providence Island is in the central Bahamas. It is about 180 miles southeast of Miami, Florida. The country length overall is some 500 miles from north to south. We have an island all the way north, further north than Miami, Grand Bahama, where Freeport is, the second capital. And then, folks, we also have an island all the way down south, Inagua, right off the northern coast of Cuba and Hispaniola. So the country area is about 100,000 square miles. It's about, folks, ahead of me here on the left-hand side, that pink building with the green shutters have the distinction of being one of the oldest parliaments in the Western Hemisphere, which started all the way back in 1729. Therefore, the Bahamas have the third oldest democracy in this part of the world. Currently in the House of Assembly, there are 39 seats. Today, the incumbent is the PLP, the Progressive Liberal Party, headed by our current Prime Minister, Philip Brave Davis. The opposition is the FNM, Free National Movement, headed by Michael Pintard. Here in the Bahamas, election cycle is every 5 years, not 4. And also in my country, you can be the Prime Minister more than twice. We had one Prime Minister, so for a whopping 25 consecutive years, the Right Honorable Sir Lyndon Oscar Pinling, the father of our nation. In the middle of Parliament Square, you will see a statue of Queen Victoria that was placed there all the way back in 1905. Ordinarily, a statue of such magnitude is bought by a government or some organization. That was bought by the people themselves here in the country. The reason being, to recognize the good old Queen Victoria. She was the one who freed the slaves here in the Bahamas back in 1834. The building that is left of the Queen is the Hansard. The Hansard, folks, is like an archive or a library. You can find all of the proceedings of the House of Assembly and the Senate going all the way back to 1729, word for word, minute by minute. Moving along, what will be behind the Queen is the Senate. Building over here on the left-hand side. And folks, if you are pretty astute, and I'm sure you are, you're going to realize very quickly that our government has a very, I guess you can say, limited imagination when it comes to painting their buildings. Most of them happens to be pink and white, yes indeed. So this building here behind the Senate with the white columns is the highest court in the land. It is our Supreme Court. Now, folks, here in the Bahamas, as of July the 10th, 1973, we became an independent sovereign country. However, we still have some ties with Great Britain. So here in the Bahamas, if you want to appeal your case at the Privy Council in London, you can do so. But here locally, it is the last court of say. You must bear in mind, he met folks here already. There were an estimated 30,000 folks who are indigenous. They were known as the Awawaks, a branch of the Lucayan Indians. However, folks, it is very sad. When the Europeans came in, they brought along with themselves diseases that the local folks had no defense against. Within a generation, they were completely genocide. And because the Europeans did not find what they were looking for, certainly no shortcut to India, no spices, nothing of intrinsic value, no gold, silver, precious stones, they quickly moved on. And so, folks, it was quite some time the Bahamas lay vacant of a populace. It wasn't until that great tumultuous time of religious protests in the Middle Ages that the Bahamas gradually started to get repopulated. Folks, when you come back to the bus, we'll talk about the individuals who came into the colony and eventually made it their very own country, the long name, the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. Just in case you need it, straight ahead there, a great building is a rest stop. Folks, because we're only doing a quick tour, 3 hours, you're only gonna have 15 minutes here, okay? If you want to do some souvenir shopping and you can't have enough time,
Hi, good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning to everybody over the big bus.
Yes.
Come on now. You come on the side. You want to read into me. Be on one side here. Hello, everybody with the big bus. Come on one side.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm right in front of your picture.
Be on one side. One side, Tippy. Okay, it's right. I'm going to wait for the rest. Where you from?
Atlanta, Georgia.
A lot of Hawks, Braves. My favorite pitcher from the Braves, fellow named Greg Maddox.
Absolutely. A player.
My name is Anthony. I'm one of the guys up this step. What we are in? This is the historical Queen Staircase. All of this here was one big solid rock. What happened? It took 600 slaves from West Africa, 16 years. They have carved this out in their 18th bill. They carved out 66 steps. They buried one to the bottom, remain 65. Purpose for carving this out. We have an old fort up there. That is the British fort. In case that was attacked, this will be the escape pathway for the British soldiers. That fort up there is called Fort Finn Castle. Was built in the year 1793 by a British governor. Name was Earl Lord Dunmore. They have carrying guns. They are not real. They were sent back to England. You had a young queen from England. Her name is Queen Victoria. Queen Victoria is Queen Elizabeth's grandmother. She had the power. What she did? She freed the slave in the Bahamas in the year 1838. With the goodness she have done, the free slave say, thank you, Queenie. The free slave carved this step. That's why this is called the Queen Staircase.
The Bahamians simply cannot afford to pay for it. So the government saw fit several years ago to introduce the primary health care initiative for all Bahamians. Today, each Bahamian who signed up for it, completely free of charge, was assigned a physician, a GP, and that person, they get to see that doctor once a year for an annual and several times per year as need be for follow-ups. Once again, don't cost you a red cent. Also, you'll find the lion's share of our population today in the Bahamas have access to free medication. Primarily those who are senior citizens, 65 and older, those who are civil servants, those who are indigent, and those who are under the age of 18 have access to free medication. Today in my country, the life expectancy for a Bahamian male is 79 years of age. And for
What are you doing today?
No sales tax.
Wait, darling. I'm so sorry.
Are you
all right?
14 flavors. Mix and match anything you like.
It's chilly, wasn't it?
Guys, carry on like
You want to get some?
All your flavors from the
Grab a 66 pack for $37.50, guys. No sales tax, no duties, no refrigeration, no excursion.
There's just one big one.
Mix and match those flavors, guys.
Hello. Hi. Pina colada.
Good for a whole year. Amaretto and pina colada today, guys. Amaretto and pina.
Poitiers Bridge. Poitiers, excuse me. He is one of our sons we are truly proud of. For those who don't know, Sir Sidney Poitiers, yes indeed, he was knighted by the Queen of England, was a vanguard. He was a pioneer. He set the stage for others to come. He would have been the first man of color to ever win an Academy Award, that is an Oscar Award, for a movie he did all the way back in 1964. For another 10 points, do anyone know the name of the movie he got the award for?
Color purple?
They were great movies, folks, but that is not the one I am looking for. Anybody? No. No.
Give us a hint.
It had the nuns inside of it. Also, it was a black and white movie. The one with the nuns. Absolutely brilliant family movie. Lilies of the Field. Folks, if you haven't seen that movie, I highly recommend it. You will love it. And so this fairly short bridge is only half a mile in length, coming up at its apex. It is some 80 feet above sea level. It allowed the many sailing boats traversing the channel to get beneath. However, not your cruise ship. Folks, we are now passing over the Nassau Channel. And this is the main reason why that small island eventually became the main island here in the country. What Nassau had was a natural deep water harbor. Back in the old days, the windjammers, the cutters, they can come very close to land or right to land to offload their cargo and their passengers. For an added bonus, it had an island in front of it, formerly called Hog Island. In the event of inclement weather, like a Dorian, it will buffer the waves from crashing into the main port and destroying it. Folks, what you'll find here in my country is most of the waters happens to be fairly shallow, hence the word Bahama, which pretty much means shallow seas. But by contrast, over to my left and about 40 miles away sits the largest island here in the country. It is called Andros Island. Between Andros Island and the Providence Island we just came from sits a body of water known as the tongue of the ocean. It happens to be some of the deepest waters on Earth. You know, folks, it may not be as deep as the Mariana Trench, but it is very, very deep. And your government, your U.S. government, take full advantage of that, being so close to land. I find it rather amusing that most Americans do not know that their government has a research facility here in the Bahamas on Andros Island. Once again, sits right on the edge of the tongue of the ocean. I call it Area 52, but your government calls it AUTEC, A-U-T-E-C. It stands for the American Underwater Testing and Evaluation Center. It is where they do a lot of high-tech research and developmental work for their new technologies dealing with their submarines, torpedo, ballistic missiles, and sonar. Folks, over the many years they've been here in the country, we Bahamians have been exposed to a lot of unusual occurrences. Folks, I am not going to elaborate on some of the odd occurrences we have.
A lot more than I have.
This looks like an archway, doesn't it?
It does. I see some chihuahua. I heard Daddy telling you how kind of special chihuahua is to Mom and Dad.
However, what they did start more recently is the lottery. You can take part in that, but you cannot gamble in the casino. Now, folks, we are passing over the channel once again, and below this bridge, you will see an area called Potter's Key. Potter's Key plays a very important role here in the Bahamas. Folks, here in the Bahamas, because of geography, these individual small islands, and most of them are very sparsely populated. There was never a need for trains or rail roads here in the Bahamas. But you see these boats right here? They act just like trains on the waters here in the Bahamas, connecting all of these islands together. No matter how remote a settlement, they will get out to them to make sure those folks get what they need to survive. So whether it's food, fuel, building materials, machinery, you name it, that is their job. Folks, coming up here on the left-hand side, on the right-hand side, by the way, you will see a shrub with some yellow flowers. It's a good display here on the right. When you look over on the left-hand side, you'll see them once again. Now, I must admit, those ones are ornamental. But folks, trust me, if they had only waited long enough, I am convinced the yellow elder would have planted themselves right there. Everywhere you history for more than 2 centuries, once again, it is a female. They call her very affectionately mother because she's a mother to everyone here in the country. A former parliamentarian with the PLP, Cynthia Pratt, very nice lady. And so today she is the one that represents the King of England, the highest post in the country. On the steps of the house, you will see a white plinth. If you look very carefully, you can see that there must have been something erected there. As a matter of fact, the name on front gives it away. For many, many decades, a larger-than-life statue of Columbus stood towering over the city of Nassau. Folks, a few years ago, a lone individual equipped with a sledgehammer and adorning a bulletproof vest, which is illegal, by the way, for a civilian here in the Bahamas, decided he will climb the plinth and demolish the statue. And oh my, he was doing it. He was able to knock away the sword he was propped upon and one of his legs, before the authorities quickly stopped him and covered the defaced statue in top. For many months to come, the statue remained on government house steps. As a matter of fact, when I used to pass on tour, I used to say, Columbus is standing on his last leg. And sure enough, a blessed Sunday afternoon, a crane came by and removed the statue. Many of these buildings became derelict. Greatly was able to acquire most of them and had them restored. Lord Mountbatten, by the way, lived right here on the right for many decades. Right next to him used to be a convent. Brakeland was able to acquire both of these buildings. Now the convent is a winery. And folks, you'll have a chance to sample some local wine made right here on the island. On the left-hand side, there's a chocolate and cigar factory. You'll find the entrance right here coming up on the left-hand side. Yes. Boy, when you could afford to spend $400 on a box of cigars, you can truly say you have money to burn. Not cheap at all. They have.
Or do we want to go in here? On the door?
Are we going to get ice cream?
Well, we're going to jump in front of her really quick. He won't get you. He's got a hook for a hand. He's good.
Pretty stiff.
Cheese. Okay. The Great Cliff.
Take a picture outside.
Guys good? Yes, sir. Follow me. Our walk list Distillery.
I don't think they're making enough shit. I don't know. We're gonna walk out here.
Daddy, did you see this? Glen. Glen. My ears.
Are you going in the winery, babe? Can you push me, Dad?
That sun in your eyes? Well, we can't go really high.
It's not a swing like your school swing, okay?
We had some bad weather. Not so much bad weather per se here, but there was a system that was out to sea. And so even though it was a nice day here on the island, we had a lot of waves crashing into the land. All the sand you see all up on the right-hand side came in with that, all the rocks and rubble and everything. Just in more recent times, the water has been a little bit more quiet. So something is going on with these surges every now and then. Ordinarily, folks, on a calm day, you can see right down to the seafloor. You can see it coming a little bit now, but the water tends to be a whole lot clearer. So when you see those different shades, that's actually the bottom of the sea that you are seeing. We are very lucky here in the Bahamas to have waters that are not just normally warm throughout the year, but also pretty much crystal clear. So folks, right here, you're going to have a chance to take a photo of your ship in the background and also take
So it's actually a couple of days past our excursion in Nassau where we took a tour, and I'll put the actual name of the tour in the description. We did this through Royal Caribbean, and we had a great time. We got to see a few of the different sites, get out and explore, do a little shopping. I really recommend, if you're looking for something different than just going to a resort, going to the beach, doing a water park type thing, this was really a neat way to see part of the country, part of the island, in the city of Nassau. Joe was the name of our driver, and he was fantastic. He had a great sense of humor, and just did a really good job on the tour. So again, I would recommend, if you're looking for something different than a beach day or a resort day, this is definitely something that I would look into. So I hope you enjoyed the video, and stay tuned for the next one. Thanks. Bye.